The following program is sponsored by the Today's Home Remodeler television network.
Welcome to today's Home Remodeler. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, we're looking at a number of different insulation options. We'll begin with Gary Rockweiler from Rockweiler Insulation, who will explain why now more than ever, it's important to understand your options when it comes to insulation and energy efficiency. We'll then travel along with some of his insulation specialists to learn more about the blown-in blanket system, see how insulation can be used for more than just energy efficiency, and finish up seeing how to retrofit a 100-year-old home from the inside. So we have a lot to cover today, and we'll get started after these messages.
Insulation. There are so many choices. What's right for you? The energy professionals at Rockweiler Insulation can help by providing an energy analysis of your home and a recommendation on the right type of insulation. Proper insulation will reduce excess noise, help maintain a comfortable temperature, and reduce your energy costs. Don't settle for less. Contact Rockweiler Insulation at 845-7625. What you don't see makes all the difference.
These days, many homeowners are taking advantage of the government stimulus package to improve their home's energy efficiency. And that's great. Energy efficiency is important. But with so many options available, simply adding insulation is not always the answer. You must make sure it's the right type for the application, it's installed correctly, and air sealing has also been addressed. So let's begin today's show with Gary Rockweiler from Rockweiler Insulation. We'll touch on the versatility of insulation and share his thoughts on the importance of energy efficiency.
And in this area, Stuart, we have for sound control in the dividers between the units, we have an R19 bat, a 5.5-inch bat. They chose in this case to use a blown-in blanket system actually to increase the sound control between the units. And in this case, for instance, we're putting 16 inches of blown cellulose between each floor system, for A, fire control, and for B, for sound control. So those things you wouldn't probably see in a residence. But overall, the concept of saving energy applies to all projects.
Well, you know, you touch on saving energy, and it seems nowadays it's more important than ever. And every year we begin the show by talking about the virtues of insulation, and let's do that again today. I mean, why should the consumer be concerned about their insulation?
Well, more than ever now with the awareness for the energy savings that we've had in recent years, and it's more keen than ever now, especially with the stimulus package, people are becoming more educated as to how to save your energy, whether it be through their insulation processes, their heating systems, the light bulbs, the fixtures, all of that's coming into play. And now with the stimulus package, hopefully even more people will be aware of what they need to do to increase the energy efficiency of their dwelling. We all need to work together on this, because if we don't, our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren are going to pay the fare for us not doing the right thing today.
And that's a good point. You know, it's not just about us, our comfort. Sure, that's important. We want to save money, we want to be comfortable, but really it's our future generation that we should be looking out for.
Oh, certainly. Like you and I have discussed in the past, this is an investment. It's a code, it's a requirement, it's a comfort thing, but beyond that, it is an investment for the future.
Sure, and it's the one area that you do get a payback on.
Oh, certainly, all the time.
So what do we have to look forward to today? You got some good projects for us?
Oh boy, you're going to like today. We have a new construction with a blown-in blanket bib system. Greg will be our guy taking you through that. We have this project, this condo project in downtown Madison. Brian will take you through that. And probably the one you'll find maybe the most interesting is Pat is dealing with almost 100-year-old restoration house and a retrofit in downtown Madison. So you'll have plenty to choose from today.
Well, you're right. I love those retrofits. It's such a challenge to make them energy efficient, bring them up to today's standards, but I bet you enjoy those challenges.
Oh, we do. It makes it quite interesting. It's never the same. Each job is different.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today's show, giving us a brief introduction. I'm going to go catch up with the guys and take a look at some of those projects.
All right. Thanks, Stuart.
Well, as Gary alluded to, insulation sure is a versatile product. Now let's begin our project tour with insulation specialist Greg Smith, who will show us the blown-in blanket system in a new single-family home. Oh, what a beautiful setting for a new home. Obviously, it is a new home, new construction. kind of take us through what's going on from an insulation standpoint.
Okay, there's several different types of applications of insulation. In this particular system, we're going to use our bibs blown-in blanket system using the Optima fibers. The first thing we do with our application, we go through an air seal. We run a bead of foam around the entire channel all the way up top to bottom.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen this, Greg, where you go on every stud around the exterior of the home where the sheathing meets, you're sealing that. Why is that?
Absolutely. We do not know where the cracks of the plywood are. We don't know when the sider is going to install his nails, how many holes are going to be in there. That way we stop the infiltration of air the best we can before any other work is done.
Boy, so really attention to detail is going to play a big role in the end result of the insulation system.
Yep.
And I assume that you're going to also take care of any penetrations, electrical, utilities, things like that?
Right. Over here is an electrical box that'll show you a little bit more how we entirely foam the whole box completely.
Wow, so you're really concerned with air movement, not just the R value of the wall, but the air movement within the cavity.
Correct, absolutely. Another good application, any narrow channels, we go through and fill a bead behind the channel. Another application is going through and foaming a bead all the way around the entire window and door. Once we have a bead, we fill the balance full of fiberglass.
And then above the headers on the windows and doors, so this will be an area for bats as well?
Absolutely. We have limited space there, so rather than depend on a blown-in blanket, we use a bat because we have a solid surface behind that.
Well, I can see the guys over in this room actually installing that bib system. Let's go take a look at how it's done.
Sounds good.
Now this must be the Optima insulation that you were mentioning is being blown in.
Yes, it is, Stu.
You know, it has a different texture to it.
Yep, it is. It's very soft and pliable, and it's made special just for blowing into the wall cavities. The Optima from Certainty is made just for filling the wall cavities, dense pack. That way we get an R23 standalone by itself insulation value.
Now quickly take us through the installation process.
Okay, once we got all our air sealing done, we go through and we staple the netting extremely tight. The reason we use the netting is the air will pass through the netting and we can fill the cavity completely.
Now this netting isn't a vapor barrier, it's just simply to hold the insulation in place?
Correct. Once we're all done doing our blowing, we take a broom, sweep the wall down to make sure they're flush, then we install a 6 mil vapor barrier over that.
So what's involved with the installation process? Do they obviously use a hose?
Yep, they use a hose and a control switch. That way when they're installing insulation, they can physically feel the amount of insulation that's in the wall cavity to make sure it's full.
Well, you know, looking down here where it's been installed, how do you know you've put the right amount of insulation in the wall?
When the installer is installing it, he kind of pads it, feels it, makes sure it's good and solid. That way, like I say, when it's bulging a little bit, we know it's very tight. And then we also sweep it down with the broom to make sure it's flat. And we also do random testing to make sure that we are up to density.
So there is a special amount that's supposed to be in there, and really a lot of experience must go into it to know just by feel?
Yes, we have experience and they are all trained to make sure that they are filling the cavities completely.
Well, you know, as I look at it, it's a nice, clean looking system. What about your past customers? What do they have to say about it?
Past customers have been very happy. They definitely noticed a difference in the sound control and the amount of energy it takes, and also the comfortability.
Sure, if you're looking for a premium system, it seems to me Bibs is the way to go. Thanks a lot for coming on today's show.
Thank you, Stu.
Coming up, we'll see how insulation can be used for more than just energy efficiency when we continue with today's Home Remodeler.
Insulation. There are so many choices. What's right for you? The energy professionals at Rockweiler Insulation can help by providing an energy analysis of your home and a recommendation on the right type of insulation. Proper insulation will reduce excess noise, help maintain a comfortable temperature, and reduce your energy costs. Don't settle for less. Contact Rockweiler Insulation at 845-7625. What you don't see makes all the difference.
Earlier in today's show, we saw some of the different types of insulation used in new construction. Now let's see the versatility of the product as we continue our project tour with insulation specialist Brian Aumann from Rockweiler Insulation, who shows us how insulation was incorporated in this 71-unit condo in downtown Madison, Wisconsin.
What we're looking at here, Stuart, as you can see, we've done a lot of attention to detail with foaming anything as far as penetrations, not only horizontally but also vertically in all these wall cavities too, not only to help with the fire transfer if one were to ever break out, but also sound. and any kind of air draft also.
And I know from previous shows, the attention to detail plays such a big role in it because you don't want any air movement, not only vertically, but horizontally as well.
Exactly. Any kind of, fire draft getting into this wall system, if it has a path to travel, it's going to travel. So the attention to detail to seal all these little things up is really important.
And even though this is a multi-unit, you can apply these principles to a single-family residential home?
Yep, these same principles go into every residential home that we insulate.
So you're really concerned about air movement within the cavity, both horizontally and vertically?
Yes.
And it's your job as the insulator to make sure everything's sealed up properly?
It is. In this particular building, you can see some other things in here, Stuart, that some other contractors have gone ahead and taken off
one of them I
with.
notice is right here, the electrical boxes are all wrapped in a kind of a rubber membrane.
Yeah, what that is that's actually a fire-rated caulk that the electrician has put into his contract to go ahead and seal these boxes up in between dwelling units. Not only is that going to help obviously for fire reasons, but also sound control. Anytime you're sealing something up, you are getting a good sound control out of it too. So yeah, every trade is really going above and beyond to start making these more energy efficient and sound controlled.
And you mentioned sound control again, and I know back at the shop, Gary mentioned that was of the utmost importance in this project. How'd you tackle it?
Yeah, the builder and the owner of this building were very, very meticulous about having maximum sound control in this. So we actually finished some work up yesterday, Stuart, on the 3rd floor. We can go and take a look at some of that. Yeah, here we have a good example of that sound control in an interior wall, Stuart. On the back side of this wall, we have the actual mechanical room that runs a good portion of this floor. So they opted to go above and beyond with the sound control in this particular wall with that bib system to promote a better sound controlled area.
So even though this is an interior wall, they're opting for a real high-end product, and that's really going to dampen any noise that's coming from the mechanicals.
Yep, the idea behind the system, Stuart, is it's a dense packed, which means you get a higher density of that fiberglass being packed into that cavity, which helps for that sound control.
So a great example of not so much energy efficiency, but the comfort issue.
For the comfort issue for sound, correct.
And then as I look around over on any of the exterior walls, and when we get in here, they opted for the fiberglass batting?
Yep, we went with the standard fiberglass batting on the exterior wall, which will perform great thermally. But for some of these high sound controlled areas that they were looking at, they did choose to go with that bib system.
Okay, and then as I look here, it looks like they're strategically placing different types of insulation as I look around. They have the batting, they have the bibs. Here, this is actually an interior wall.
This is an interior wall, and it's actually an interior wall within the same unit, Stuart. So this is room to room within one unit that they chose to throw the fiberglass bat in there for sound control between room to room.
And that looks like a full 6-inch bat?
That's an R19 fiberglass bat, the same that we would install into an exterior wall for a thermal purpose, which, like I said, it works just as well for sound control.
Okay, so they're using fiberglass batting in strategic areas. They're using a bib system to deaden the noise. What are they doing between the floors of this complex?
Between the floors was kind of the same principle, Stuart. They chose to go with a 16-inch full cellulose blown floor. Cost effective, just like some of these other procedures throughout this building, but yet a much denser product than what fiberglass is, so that sound control is going to be that much greater.
So you're saying you're taking about a 16-inch cavity and packing it full?
Packing it full with, yes.
Wow, so that's a little more cost effective compared to the bib system, but it has similar properties that it'll really deaden it?
Yes, much more cost effective compared to the bibs, but still the same properties within it, having that same density inside the product.
Well, it's great seeing all the different options out there. It just shows how important communication is in the building process. Thanks a lot for coming on today's show and giving us an overview.
Thank you, Stuart.
Stay tuned. We'll see how professionals insulate a 100-year-old home next.
Insulation. There are so many choices. What's right for you? The energy professionals at Rockweiler Insulation can help by providing an energy analysis of your home and a recommendation on the right type of insulation. Proper insulation will reduce excess noise, help maintain a comfortable temperature, and reduce your energy costs. Don't settle for less. Contact Rockweiler Insulation at 845-7625. What you don't see makes all the difference.
So far in today's show, we've followed along the professional insulation process, focusing mainly on new construction. Now let's finish up our project tour with insulation specialist Pat Harrington from Rockweiler Insulation, who shows us how he and his team are retrofitting a 100-year-old home.
Okay, Stuart, as you can see, these walls are completely empty.
Wow, think of how inefficient an old home like this is. I mean, looking at it, you would think there's insulation in the walls, but I guess back in its day, maybe 100, 120 years ago, they didn't insulate the walls.
Anything pre-1950, you have a chance that possibly nothing was in the walls.
So is this pretty common for you to encounter homes without the insulation?
Pretty much all the time, yep. One thing you want to check first before you do start, just blowing stuff in walls is you want to check your electrical stuff. Some of the older electrical, the knob and tube wiring and stuff, is not made to be insulated around.
Sure, so you want to have an experienced contractor that understands the safety issues as well as the energy efficiency issues. So it looks like they decided to get rid of the knob and tube and actually put some new wiring in here. Is that why they're pulling off all the interior walls?
Basically down here is they're redoing the kitchen, so they're going to really upgrade things. So they went right down to the walls, and so they could run their new outlets, new plumbing, whatever they need for their new kitchen.
Well, I got to believe from your standpoint, this is nice to work in a situation where you have full access because you can tackle all the little openings that we've discussed in the past.
Yep, you can see all the punctures and the penetrations, like the old knot holes, things where they've drilled in for like their new range. These things we can seal up before we go back and go with our conventional fiberglass bat and put it in.
And then what about around windows? I mean, that's got to be nice to be able to get in there.
Here again, the older windows, you can chink them, you can put foam around them, you can tighten them up quite a bit.
Okay, so everything from electrical penetrations right down to knot holes in the old boards that they use for sheathing, those are all important energy efficient aspects, and you want to make sure you get those filled properly.
Exactly, Stuart.
Now, what about the blocking I see up here? This is the old balloon construction, and what is the blocking for?
Blocking is for fire stopping, first of all, for safety issues. So if there is a fire, it won't pull up the wall. Also, it does stop a lot of air movement. So when we're dense packing the wall, no movement can move through it.
Okay, for safety and for energy efficiency. So down here you mentioned you're going to put fiberglass bats in because you have the access. I know in a previous show we showed how you could fill a sidewall cavity from the outside. Is that what they're going to do here?
Well, not from the outside. They've already re-sided this house and they put at least a 1-inch foam board on the outside. So we really don't want to disrupt that because we've got a nice seal on that outside. What we're going to do is we're going to do this a little differently. We're going to go after the lath and plaster on the upstairs, which we can go up there and actually we can show you how that process works.
Wow, from the inside, great. Let's go see it.
You bet, Stuart. As you can see, Gilbert here has been working this morning already, and he's already punched his holes in the wall. He drills a hole in the wall and basically tries to find his stud spaces so then he can pick out the rest of the spot.
Boy, that has to be challenging, working in old plaster and then drilling holes. How do you stop from just making it crack and fall apart?
Well, there's tricks to the trades. That's why you hire somebody to do it. Basically what you do is you hit it with a hammer and you take a regular hole hog bit and you can go right through the stuff. It's really convenient that they're redoing the inside because when they patch these, we'll put a styrofoam plug in and then they'll come over and they'll kind of skim coat the entire wall.
So again, you'd prefer to do it from the outside, but if you're doing major remodeling or the situation dictates, you can do it from the inside.
There's all different ways to do it, Stuart.
Now, what type of insulation are you filling in there?
We are actually using a cellulose product. It will basically pack in the wall better than most fiberglasses and things like that. It's called dense packed cellulose. So when we're pushing the tube up, we slide it all the way to the top, and then as we pull it down, as it plugs, we know we're pushing as much product as we can in that wall, because that's what you're paying for.
And do you feel that this does a pretty good job of filling that cavity? I mean, how can you be sure that you're filling it entirely?
When he does, he slides it up, and as he slides this up the wall, if he hits some sort of break or cross brace, he can mark this tube here, mark it, and then see how far he's getting up the wall.
Oh, and then you could just simply drill another hole above it, and that way you go around the entire perimeter of the house and you're filling every wall cavity that's there. Do you find it's a pretty effective way of making the home more energy efficient?
It's probably the best way to actually try to fill a wall that you cannot see.
So anywhere that they're not tearing off the walls, it's your job to fill the walls.
Right, exactly, Stuart. You're looking at about 99.8% gets filled.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, you don't have to do it from the inside, though.
No, you can do it from outside, inside. Generally, when it comes to when you're doing a major remodel, let's say you're residing, we can attack it from the outside. Also, if you're not planning on residing, we can also remove aluminum siding, put it back on like nobody's ever seen it. This is the ample time if you were repainting. They're going to re-skim coat these walls. So you get a good plaster, and you can actually skim coat these, and then you'll never even see the holes were there.
So again, if you're living in an old house, number one, have it inspected by an experienced contractor, and then consider all your options. Most important thing is, let's get it insulated properly, and regardless of your situation, there's means of doing that.
There's all different ways to do it, Stuart.
Well, Pat, I really appreciate you coming on today's show and helping us out with energy efficiency.
You bet, Stuart.
Now here are some key points to help summarize today's show. If you're building new or remodeling your existing home, it's a great time to increase its energy efficiency. Be sure to work with a professional insulation contractor who is experienced with the latest products and technologies. And remember, insulation is the one area in a home that's virtually guaranteed to provide a payback. And an educated consumer who understands their options will get the best value and ultimately the most comfortable home. Well, we're all out of time for this week's show. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again next time on Today's Home Remodeling.
Cut.